When you think of a rich person, what do you think of? The crazy amount of zeros attached to Jeff Bezos' name? Or Scrooge McDuck swimming in a pile of gold? Throughout history, wealth has always been a symbol of power, luxury, and influence. The human who owned the crops had the biggest house in Mesopotamia. But moving further along in history, I've noticed some parallels with the rich ancient Romans and the lives of today's rich folk. Wealthy people do a lot of things differently, but they also surprisingly share some similarities with ancient Romans. Exclusive fashion and jewelry. Starting off, women in ancient Rome bedazzled their attire with a rich array of jewelry, selecting from a wide range of materials including gold, silver, copper alloys, and various stones based off their wealth. Alexandria Krum, in her book Roman Clothing and Fashion, expands this, noting that the use of gold, although preferred due to its warm hue, was indicative of affluence, highlighting their appreciation for stones in their natural state rather than faceted. The value of jewelry was based on the weight of precious metals and stones used. This system of wealth shows the stark contrast with the modern-day wealthy person. You see, in present day, the rich and wealthy, particularly the ultra-high net worth individuals, are moving away from overt displays of wealth. Hilary Hoffauer from Business Insider observed, "In an era where mass consumption means both the upper class and the middle class can own the same luxury brand, the rich are forging material goods to invest in immaterial means, as a way to signify status. Rather than showcasing material possessions like Louis Vuitton handbags or expensive cars as a symbol of wealth, the wealthy opt for an inconspicuous consumption. This shift focuses on investing in immaterial aspects such as knowledge, education, health, and culture capital. The current trend among the rich involves prioritizing privacy, security, and investing in non-materialistic assets that represent status, a complete opposite contrast from the explicit flaunting of wealth witnessed in ancient Rome." Influence and power. Even though the rich of today are more secretive of their wealth for whatever reason, they still attend and host various forms of events for themselves. Some of these events can change the political landscape. Now, let me explain what the elites of Rome did to influence the political scene first, before I explain what the rich do now. A big thing back in the day, ancient Rome, was for the elites of society to attend gatherings called assemblies. Assemblies in ancient Rome were gatherings where citizens organized by class or geography participated in decision-making. They voted on laws, elected officials, and discussed matters of public concern. These meetings, like the Comitia Censorita and the Tribal Assembly, formed the democratic backbone of the Roman Republic, allowing citizens to have a voice in the governance. Some assemblies were structured in a way that gave more influence and voting power to the wealthy and privileged citizens. The Comitia Censorita was one such assembly that was initially based on a military organization with voting power distributed according to wealth and social class. Doug Ashburn from Britannica, a website that archives Roman history, describes the Comitia Censorita as starting with the equites. Now, equites were a social class positioned below centurial class, but above the common citizen, plebeians. Followed by the first and wealthiest class, these groups constituted as a clear majority over the combined votes of the other four classes, if they were voted as a bloc. So, as a result, the wealthiest class had more influence over the assembly decisions compared to the lower classes. So wealth and social status often played a role in influencing decisions in the political landscape of ancient Rome. Coming back to the present, there can't possibly be such an oligarchy taking place in modern American politics, right? Well, lobbying and special interests in modern America. Two things I want to touch on: lobbying and special interests. Lobbying involves efforts by individuals or groups to influence government decisions, policies, or anything under the sun, really. This can occur through various means, including direct communication with lawmakers, financial contributions to political campaigns, providing their expertise, and organizing grassroots efforts. Grassroots effort refers to a movement or campaign that originates from ordinary people within a community. Special interests refer to the things that groups or entities advocate for in specific policies, legislation, or regulations that benefit their particular interests. Whether they are corporations, industry association, union advocacy groups, or other organizations, they often engage in lobbying activities to advance their agendas. These entities often have significant resources at their disposal, allowing them to hire professional lobbyists, fund political campaigns, and engage in advocacy efforts. The concern arises when the influence of these groups overpowers the voice of the general public or leads to policies that primarily benefit a narrow segment of society. Likewise, in modern America, the presence of powerful interest groups and lobbyists often representing wealthier entities or industries can wield considerable influence on lawmakers and policy decisions. According to a statistic report done by Open Secret, in 2022 alone, lobbyists spent $4.09 billion on influencing political policies, representing the highest sum spent on lobbying since 2010. This influence tilts the scales in favor of certain interests, potentially overshadowing the voice or needs of the broader public. Sound familiar? Both the oligarchs in modern day and in ancient Roman Republic highlight the potential for disproportionate influence where certain wealthy groups or families have more significant sway over decision-making processes compared to others. While the context and mechanisms differ between ancient Rome's centura and modern lobbying, both underscore concerns about equitable representation and the potential for unequal influence in democratic governance. Anyway, while separated by centuries of history, the parallels between the prestige and influence of ancient Rome elites and the rich individuals of today remain striking. The pursuit and display of wealth, power, and influence have fizzled out into a more stealthy approach with our modern elites, probably because of increasing concern with late-stage capitalism in the public eye, but I'm definitely not getting into that. As well as the surprising time-transcending power of oligarchies in both societies. My final thoughts on the subject: I believe history is doomed to repeat itself forever and ever. Thank you.